I dedicated myself to uncovering the connections between Colombian senators, Colombian congressmen, and paramilitarism. Already under the government of Álvaro Uribe, and with Álvaro Uribe negotiating with these people of peace who were the largest drug trafficking group, the biggest exporter of cocaine from Colombia to the United States, while the European market was still small at that time, Angel Gaiton Mahecha emerged from that alliance. Land laundering and asset laundering through land flipping arose, but a genocide also emerged in Colombia, against which I stood, just as I have stood against the genocide in Palestine. 90,000 people died during the period of paramilitary governance that began. I could continue the investigation. I did not reach Monsalve. Ivan reached Monsalve, and Monsalve, as a paramilitary that he was, declared himself a witness, stating that he had seen the paramilitaries and had been at the Guacharacas estate himself. That's when the lawyers of Uribe began trying to overturn all those testimonies, until a magistrate of the Supreme Court of Justice, while looking for a criminal in his calls, who had interfered by legitimate judicial order, found that it was Álvaro Uribe Vélez speaking on the phone and that he was involved in the problem. I think that with his lawyer, perhaps through witness bribery, they tried to overturn the testimonies to save themselves from that process. Now, they say that what the Supreme Court magistrate did violate the law because the conversation of the person they expected to be the criminal, ordered by judicial authority, turned out to be the voice of Álvaro Uribe Vélez. And they called this privacy. I know I cannot get involved in those judicial discussions, but how sad that these things happen in Colombia. We'll see if the Supreme Court accepts that or not. Whether there will be justice, or if the cartels of the robe, corrupt within judiciary, continue to control this. And that debate continues, and I'm going on at length. I know I'm going on, but it has to be told, because later this will be my I accuse, trying like Trump to judge me. This is my I accuse that we are going to complete, because we have to gather the books, the data, etc., so that it's known why Trump has been encouraged by U.S. Senator Bernie Moreno, of Colombian origin, to clash against us, because that does not come naturally to Trump. But the U.S. federal government does not allow Colombian cannabis to be exported, which could have been a great opportunity to reduce these red zones, high conflict areas. And now, turning even to the cocaine issue, which kills 3,000 people, they are essentially supporting a mafia inside the United States that produces fentanyl, an industrial product that we cannot produce. It is consumed within the US with an effect that multiplies by 30 the deaths that cocaine used to cause. Today, it reaches a figure of 100,000 deaths per year, and people die almost anesthetized. But look at what happens with the green, cannabis. The green product hasn't been produced for 3 years, it has been abandoned. From the very first year, if they had put the money that local politicians distributed for other things into planting the jungle, Trump wouldn't have made a mistake. The thing is, our anti-narcotics policy and the change in global demand geography have already left 1/3 of coca leaf crops abandoned, those that are in the jungle. The Minister of Justice at the time should ensure that this is stated in the report that follows at the United Nations. The UN, in a public statement, has already admitted its mistake. They didn't tell Trump that the same organization that prepared this report, United Nations, acknowledged it was wrong and is trying to tarnish Colombia's image just because it wants to keep deploying missiles in the Caribbean and aims to invade Venezuela. How could Venezuela be the main exporter of cocaine? Through something they call the Cartel of the Suns and by abusing their positions, the congressman. Because the person in charge of international relations in Colombia, the president, tries to revive something that doesn't exist. Cocaine does not come from there. Venezuela, outside of Catatumbo to the Gulf of Maracaibo, does not produce it. A portion of what is produced in Catatumbo cannot go further because the distances between the green, coca crops, and Venezuela, areas that are close, are abandoned coca leaf plantations. It's not that I defend Maduro. It's that Colombia cannot take part in killing young Venezuelans, because they also have Colombian blood, period. If there are Colombians who want an invasion of Venezuela, killing people, of course. Do you understand why they wanted to kill Bolivar? They never understood the project of Gran Colombia. They don't feel Latin American. Their flag isn't the tricolor. Their flag is that of the United States. If they want to live in Miami, fine. but they obey US politicians, not the democratic debate that the Colombian people should be having. That's why the people need to take to the streets again today. I am not mistaken in speaking to the world from Colombia, because what I am showing is that Colombia is the heart of the world, and an aggression against Colombia is an aggression against the heart of the world. And I call on the world to help us. Before, I called on the world to help Palestine. Now it is us, because they want to attack us, and they are mafiosos. And Trump is believing them.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.